At the beginning, we are shown a man who is fighting a very dangerous battle, who is very scared. Then everything stops there. A lookalike of his face comes in front of him. That man says to him that whoever you are, I know. That's why you have to come in your real form. Then he sees a woman. She says that I have come to tell you the story of the world today. When everyone got such a group, they wanted to take revenge of their own tribes. After the fight, a witcher came into the world. Witcher means a very big magician who is an elf. Elf means who looks like humans but their ears are a little long. And they have very powerful magic. They live in the mountains. That woman tells that there were 7 people in this fight. There the man says that I want to hear this story. But those 7 people were unaware of each other. No one knew about each other. So the story is seen 1,200 years ago. A girl who was the leader of a kingdom of royal soldiers. Her name was Ellie. But she had no desire to fight. She wanted to become a singer. That's why she leaves her tribe. And she went to a village bar and started singing. Then a man was sitting there. The daughter of the owner of the bar there, when she is giving him water, he misbehaves with her. But then Ellie throws her 9-bar blade there and injures those men. She had saved the daughter of the owner of the bar. The girl asks, how do you know how to fight? Ellie says that I am the leader of the soldiers of my tribe. The girl says, then you should have been with your tribe. What are you doing here? After this, we see some people who had attacked their kingdom. A tribe used to protect that kingdom. The leader of the tribe was a man named Fajel. He saves everyone. And even the princess there. Now, because Fajel had saved the princess started loving him. But Fajel's dad finds out about this. Because it was against his principles. That any man of the tribe could not like any man living in the palace. This was against his principles. That's why he ends all his relations with Fajel. And throws him out of his tribe. Fajel says goodbye to his dad. And leaves. After which his brother came to the princess. He says to her that Fajel has gone now. You will have to think about yourself. And you will have to get married. The princess also agreed to her brother. We see a woman in a mountain. Who was the leader of the ghost tribe. Who saw the changes in the sky and was trying to talk to the spirits of her dead people. But she did not get any answer. On the other side, a magician who had opened the door of the other world with his magic. He had made a magical wall. With the help of which he went to that other world. And with the powers of that other world who was very dangerous. He makes a deal with them. Those people had also caught Ellie, whom he had killed in the bar. They lock him up in a jail. Fajel was also imprisoned there. When she sees the tattoo on Fajel's arm, she says that you are from our enemy tribe. And what are you doing here? Why have they imprisoned you? He says that I just started loving the princess. Because of which I was punished. And I was thrown out of the kingdom. Now because their tribes had been enemies for many years. They start fighting here too. Then a man comes there and takes Fajel. But Ali was still imprisoned there. Fajel, who had freed these people, he was a companion of his tribe, whom his dad had sent. Actually, there was going to be a compromise of peace and tranquility between some kingdoms. His dad was scared about all this. That's why he was calling Fajel back. But he refuses to go, after which he goes to a place. The owner there asks him for a gold coin before coming. But he only had a silver coin. He says that I only have silver. But when he sees the locket hanging around his neck, he didn't have it. Actually, he didn't have it with anyone else. In fact, he had it with Annie. He had opened the jail's locket there with the help of Fajel's locket. When he comes out, he could hear his harmonium, which was with his sister. His sister had also come to take Annie. She says that mom wants you to come back. There is going to be a compromise of peace and tranquility between all the tribes. Annie had also refused her sister, that she doesn't want to come back now. When she comes back to the bar owner's daughter is very happy to see her. But suddenly, I don't know what happened to her. She could actually tell about the future. What is going to happen in the coming life. She tells Annie that you will kill a powerful monster from another world with your sword. She becomes unconscious by telling this. There were 3 kings in the princess's palace, who were fed up of their people's hunger, fights and fights. That's why they wanted to make a compromise now. That's why the princess has a stomachache. When she goes back to her room, she cuts the throat of one of her soldiers on the way. As soon as she does this, a very big monster came from the other world. And attacks everyone. That monster kills all the kings of the kingdom in one blow. In a minute, everyone's reputation was gone. Not anyone else. In fact, the princess did it with that magician, who had opened the door to the other world. Now that all the kings were dead, that's why everyone is gathered. And by making a kingdom, the princess was made the queen of that kingdom. She keeps the name of her kingdom as Golden Empire in her new kingdom. All the elves had also accepted her as their queen, because they just wanted food. There Annie comes to the mother of that child, who told her about her future. She asks if whatever she tells is true. Her mother says yes, it is absolutely true. Now Annie was also ready to go with her sister. But when these two start going, someone attacks them. In this attack, Annie's sister died. Annie fights a lot with those soldiers. On the other hand, Fajel also came to help her. They killed them together. Annie says these soldiers belong to 3 different kingdoms, but they had a lot of enmity. So why did they attack us together? Something is wrong. I will have to go and tell my tribe people. Fajel says, if you want, you can take me with you. Because who knows, you may be in danger on the way. And he also takes his locket back from his neck. Annie had now agreed to Fajel. She goes with him towards Persia. There the princess had now become the queen. But all the decisions here were made by the magician. Despite being a queen, she could not go against the magician, because she had a very big monster, which he had brought from another world with the help of his magic. Annie and Fajel had also reached Persia. They come to a hotel, where they come to know from the words of the people, that now the rule of this kingdom is in the hands of only one. Who is the queen here? Then some soldiers come there, who were still looking for them. When they see this, they run away from here. When Annie and Fajel were together at night, Annie asks Fajel, after all, the monster that everyone was talking about, the demon, where did he come from? Fajel tells that he was a great magician, who had made a very big monolith with his black stone with his magic, with the help of which he could open the door of another world. And it is possible that the monster must have also come from that world. Now because the magician and the queen had also killed their people. That's why they both wanted to take revenge from them. We see the magician who goes back to the other world, and the power there says to the powers, that your given monster helped me a lot. But now I want such a power, which is only with me, on which the powers of the other world say, that you have to sacrifice your most beautiful thing. There Fajel and Annie go to the leader of the ghost tribe for help. Because the magician and the queen had poisoned the people of his tribe and killed them, Annie says that you will have to help us, because your family's sword is also in their custody. If you want to take your revenge from them, then you will have to support us. And like this, with Annie and Fajel, the leader of the ghost tribe was also there. Now they were 3. After that we see the leader of the Bono, which goes to the door of an elf and says, that I am looking for an elf with eyes. The leader of the Bono tribe breaks the window with the help of his hammer, goes to a house, and kills all the people from there. Who killed his friend? The queen's brother was with the magician in the palace. The magician asks him, have you caught Fajel and Annie? He says no. Their search is going on. There Fajel and Annie come to the city of Persia and go to a bank. He wanted to take money from there and include some more people with him, because it was not easy to fight the magician. When they go inside that bank, then some soldiers come and surround them. The bank manager had run away from there through a tunnel. Now they compete with those soldiers, but those soldiers close them all and set fire from outside. They also go out of the same tunnel, from where the manager ran away. There an elf in the palace attacks the queen, but at the right time a magician student saves him. The queen asks him, why did he attack me? He says that your people of the kingdom are dying of hunger. Their situation is very bad. The magician does not give them anything. That's why they want to kill you and take revenge. Now she says to that student, that you will have to support me. I know that the magician and my brother will kill me when their work is done. That's why you will have to steal the magician's magical book for me, which is the way to go to the other world. After that the queen goes out wearing that boy's clothes, and sees the state of her kingdom. Everyone was begging each other. No one had anything special to eat. She is very surprised to see this. There was Fajel and Ellie in the jungle, with whom the leader of the ghost tribe was also there, who was very much injured by the attack of those soldiers. That's why Fajel and Ellie want to put him in a place and take herbs for him. Then they meet a man who had a poster to catch them. He says that you are in search of him. I also have to take revenge from those people. They killed my whole village. I want to go with you. Ellie had now included him in her team. Now there were 4 people. Because of that attack, the leader of the ghost tribe was very injured, because he was killed by a poisonous sword. On the other hand, the man who had joined them, he says that I know a magician, who will fix it with his magic. When he takes them to him, there was smoke all around the road. He says, "Look, if you see anything in this smoke, don't stop. Just keep walking." All of them were seeing dangerous incidents in their lives. But they had reached there, where there was a magician, who was the sister of that magician, whose book was stolen, and the great magician had gone to another world. There the magician had taken his children to another world in the palace, so that he can sacrifice them, and get the powers to become a great magician. But the powers there tell him that there is no use of this thing. You will have to sacrifice your most beloved thing. You will have to give the life of that person, whom you believe with your heart. The magician was angry about this. On the other hand, the magician in the jungle takes the leader of the ghost tribe to his house, and fixes it with magic. Here was his brother too. He tells Fajel that I had a dream since childhood, that I should go to another world. But when I opened the door of another world with my magic, so at that time that magician was also with me, that world was completely barren. There I had also seen a very big monster, whom I was scared to see. But when we came back, so the magician took me captive, and took my magic book, and I have seen your sister dying with my own eyes, whom the queen had killed. Later that magician told everyone that I am lost in another world. But now you are seeing the changes of the earth and the sky. We will have to do something soon. We will have to save them all. I have a monolith, which will take us straight to the magician's monolith. Now he does the same. But he had reached another world. But there is a very big centipede monster behind him. But soon he came back to his world. And the magician closed the door of another world with his magic. At that time half of that monster was in this world, and half was left in the other world. At that time here we see that the magician's monster was flying in the sky. Here the leader of the Bono tribe points towards him. She took him to a cave, says, "I know who you are, and from where you have come. My hammer has told me everything." Actually the hammer he had. She could talk to him. She tells him that before killing the queen and the magician, you will have to kill that monster, which he has brought from another world. Here the magician's brother says, "We can kill that monster then, when we have a powerful monster ourselves." Fajel asks him, "Is it possible?" He says yes. The monster has come from another world. I will take out his heart and do magic on him. If he is joined with a person, then those powers will come into that person. This pure Ali says, "Okay, I am ready for this work." But Fajel did not want this, that Ali should do this. He was refusing him. There in the palace, that student stole the magic book, but the magician sees him doing this, and attacks him with his magic. But when he was doing this, then the queen and her brother came there, who had caught the magician's daughter. They threatened to leave that student. Here Ali and Fajel were together in the jungle. They were just starting to like each other. When it is morning, then Ali hears someone screaming. She goes inside the cave and sees. So Fajel had taken that medicine, which Ali was going to drink and join with the monster. Fajel was suffering a lot, but the magician's brother prepares him by giving him medicine. When the queen had imprisoned the magician in the palace, and she wanted to steal his magic book, and go to the other world, so that she can bring food for the people of her kingdom. But that student, who was reading the book and doing magic, he could not open the door. In the cave the magician does magic on Fajel. She puts the tentacles of that monster in his body, which made everyone think that Fajel is dead. But suddenly he opens his eyes. His eyes had turned yellow. In the palace the leader of the ghost tribe comes to the queen, and shows her the poster of Fajel's capture. She goes and says, "I have come from the ghost tribe. I know where Fajel is. If you give me the magical sword of my tribe, then I will tell you where Fajel is." Hearing this the queen, with the leader of the ghost tribe, sends her 50 soldiers. There in the cave Fajel had become very powerful. He could smell everyone's blood. The queen goes to the magician in the jail. She had imprisoned the magician in a special kind of jail, where no magician could do his magic. She says to him that if you help me, if you open the door of the other world for me, then I will set you free. He says okay. But you will also have to send my daughter with me. When Fajel and Ellie were moving towards the palace, then the leader of the ghost tribe comes with the soldiers sent by the queen. Seeing whom Ellie felt that he has deceived them. But then some other soldiers come there and kill them. Now all of them had come to the palace, wearing the clothes of those soldiers. They had imprisoned Fajel and brought him to the palace. Here the magician was opening the door of the other world. With him, the queen sends her brother and some of her soldiers, so that he can get grain from there, because the magician had said that there is a lot of grain in the other world. There is a lot of food. But if the magician comes here, and kills his daughter. He had sacrificed her, and also those soldiers, who were sent by the queen. He also kills them, outside the queen. The leader of the ghost tribe brings Fajel. She asks him, "Where is Ellie? What happened to Ellie?" She says, "I had killed him." The leader of the ghost tribe says, "That now you return my magical sword to me." The queen refuses him, and tells her soldiers, that go and kill him in front of everyone. But outside, Ellie and her companions had attacked all the queen's soldiers, and then Ellie says to the people there, that the grain is completely finished. All this happened because of your queen. If you all want, then we can be free. All the troubled elves there were ready to fight on Ellie's side. Inside the palace, the queen tells Fajel that you will have to support me, because the queen already liked Fajel. But he says, "You killed all the people of my village, who always saved you people." Saying this, Fajel gives his sister, and kills all the soldiers. The queen had run away from there. Then from the other world, a very big monster attacks Fajel. There the leader of the ghost tribe kills all the soldiers who were going to kill him, and opens the door of the palace. All the elves were ready to fight from outside. Ellie comes outside to the queen, and says to her, "Why did you do this with the magician?" She says, "I just wanted to save the people of my kingdom." Ellie says to him, "You are a stupid queen, nothing more than this," and stabs him in the stomach. The queen was now injured. She goes and sits on her chair. When the people of her kingdom came to kill her, then she takes out a knife from her stomach, and dies. The magician had also returned from the other world, who now had a lot of strength. The magician and attacks his brother. There a very big monster was trying to kill Fajel. But Ellie comes there and with her knife, attacks the monster's eye, due to which his eye was injured. After which the monster attacks Ellie, and runs towards the sky. When Fajel sees Ellie injured, then he was out of control, and becomes a monster himself. He had become a very powerful monster. He throws a very big sword at the monster, due to which the monster dies. But after killing him, now Fajel was killing his own people. Ellie goes to him. She sings him a song, due to which he had become a little quiet, and then she hugs him, and stabs him. Because Fajel was now a threat to him. There the magician, who was still alive. The magician's brother says, that we have to kill this magician by using his power. The magician uses her magic. She ties her brother and magician with a monolith, and breaks it, due to which her brother and magician both died. But by breaking that monolith, all the doors of the world had opened. Everything had changed. Humans had also come into the world of elves. Everything was not the same as before. A new world had been created again. After that we see the scene after 6 months in the story. Now in this world, monsters had also come. Ellie was also about to become the mother of Fajel's child. That child had the blood of both elf and monster. And the story of Geralt had started from here. Now this story. What that man was listening. He had written everything. Later he asks that woman. But she had disappeared. So this was the story of those 7 people, who did all this to save their tribes. And with this the story of this movie season ends here.